we have a situation now, and it's happened over the last probably 10, 15 years, probably even a bit further than that, where state and federal governments which really do hold the purse strings, for them to reallocate the money back into the community, the tax money that comes out of our communities, would like to see, I think, a better bang for their buck in regards to how they allocate it, and their mission seems to be a situation where they'd like to deal with regions of councils or bigger councils in general. So amalgamations are not the end-all of end-all solutions. For example, you could put 3 broke councils together and just finish up with 1 broke council. So that doesn't seem to make sense. But I think if the right incentives are put into place and the right attitude in regards to if councils do look at an amalgamation of their neighbours, whether it be 1, 2, 3 or whatever in number, you have a formula that you could have better efficiencies. It's not necessarily always the case, but you could. But you could certainly have bigger buying power in regards to a council that sort of doubles in size, for example, by an amalgamation process, I believe, has a better chance to negotiate with the federal and state governments in regards to funding, grant money, and because, as I said, that's the flavour of the year, basically. Also, in tourism, for example, a lot of us advertise, for example, like Orange, we advertise, for example, tourism, and it overflows into our neighbouring councils, which is fine because a lot of the tourism items are basically most of the time in the other council areas. So, like we as here in Orange certainly benefit from any tourism opportunities in Cabon or Blaney or even further out than that. I think we have to look at the big picture in regards to what is good for the region, what is good for New South Wales, rather than what is specifically in our own backyard. We've only complied with, like all councils in New South Wales. We've taken a very good and hard look at the information that the state government and that are put out over the last number of years, and right from the word go, and you can only go on the information you got. I mean, the fact is, I'm a firm believer that you deal with what's in front of you, not what might be, rumours or what might be fanciful thinking. But the fact is that the indications of the state government were that doing nothing, in other words, not looking at amalgamations at all, doing nothing was not an option. I think that also you've got to take into consideration that over the last many, many years, that local government has been squeezed in regards to finances, in regards to funding from federal state. So that's getting smaller. So you've got to work on the assumption that will continue. So we've got a situation where you've got to look, and we have looked at ourselves, and we've also engaged independent consultants in regards to looking at our position, and we believe that if necessarily, we believe we could operate by ourselves. However, we're looking at all prospects. If you're going to look at the amalgamation process, you're better to be in the discussion than outside the discussion, because you might find if you're not proactive and involved, and we certainly are, you might finish up with a result that is not to your liking, or might be the worst sort of option, and you can't blame anybody, because if you're not in that discussion process and not being positive, you deserve to end up with a very negative result. But amalgamations, I can see that, for example, in the discussion at the present time, we've got a situation where it's been shown in Queensland, I do believe, that when amalgamations came along, in Queensland the rates went up nearly double the figure that went up in New South Wales. So, all of a sudden we get people sort of jumping out of the sky saying, told you so, amalgamations, it's doubled in Queensland, isn't it terrible? But if you dwell into what's happened, that's not the case. I don't believe that, personally, that rates would go up just because you amalgamated. The situation would be if the amalgamated councils kept their same level of service, there's no need for it to go up. However, you'll find, I believe, that if you had, say, three groups in a partnership for amalgamation, everybody will try to aspire to the best services, to the best standard, which could be one of the three. And so, therefore, if you're going to have better services, you've got to have rate increases.